Finals day at the Crucible.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
There's nothing beats it, as Hazel
Shaun
says.
Murphy to break.
And what a final we have here. As Shaun Murphy gets the first frame underway. Hard to pick a winner, Ken.
Yeah, very hard, Dennis. And what a wonderful atmosphere when both players enter this beautiful theatre. And they're playing that wonderful cup behind the table. And there she is. And what a session of snooker to finish last night, Dennis. And absolutely, both players playing at the top of their game. And it's an interesting first opening frames, aren't they, for this session and how it will pan out.
Yeah, whenever Shaun opened up 4-frame advantage, as we show you Stuart have a go at that, I thought he was going to pull away, but sure enough, Stuart Bingham come right back and had a century. And well, it's just awesome the way he's played, especially after his semi-final against Judd Trump. We thought he might be a little tired, but he hasn't shown any of that. He's been fully focused and playing at the top of his game.
One.
Yeah, good pot under the cushion, but couldn't get on the black, of course. That's tied up, so long green. Just a bit of movement and noise from the crowd.
Well, you were right down the cue of Shaun Murphy there. You could have played that shot yourself.
4.
Right behind the cue and almost ran the white in after it. Yeah, there was a little bit of noise the other night. It was his quarter-final coming from the earpieces, but that's been resolved. They've turned them down.
Shaun Murphy 4.
You can see this as the white. It's amazing, those slow-mos, how the balls bounce around on the table.
Well, this is his view. He's on this red into the bottom left-hand corner pocket, but there's no value of taking it on because the black is tied up and the pink. He's just wondering if he takes the red down the right-hand side of the table, if you can leave the cue ball somewhere on this black cushion as we look.
He is so good at this type of shot, but he might just be playing the safety. He's got a slight angle with it there, as you can see. And he does play it so well. That's a super shot.
And what a shot that was, Dennis. How well did he cue that?
1.
There's not many better in the game. Shaun's similar to this type of shot. Just off straight and put it right in the centre of the pocket. And he's on one of the ball colours. Pink's available, I think. Black, as Ken said, tied up. And if he gets this red away from the blue, that will clear that blue spot area.
5. Six.
In a couple of shots, Stuart's thinking about if he can get the white into that position to leave the red that's to the right of the black, pot that and free the other. So he was thinking a few shots ahead. He tried to get there with that shot, and he's overdone it, as you can see.
He's just coming to have a look. Will the black go into the left-hand corner pocket? There you see the pink doesn't spot, so it goes directly behind its own spot, in line with the top cushion, and I don't think it fits in there. I think it might have to go at the back of the pack.
Do you know, Ken, I was talking to Olivier Martel about doing the final. He's loving every minute. He said he wishes the final was on for a week. He's from Belgium, charming gentleman. Well, he could just get that. Well, there you go. Didn't have to play the cannon even. Wow, that was tight.
Oh, well, that certainly opens things up, and now gives Stuart a great opportunity here. He's freed the black into both corner pockets. Back up for the blue here, you would expect. Oh, just lost the cue ball a little bit. Needs to
21.
slow up.
Yeah, I think he knew straight away when he made contact with that he'd hit it much harder than he intended. Just the black was a bit of a distraction there. So he needs a good shot now to get back into prime position. Green's the best ball to get him on that red to the right there. And he's played this beautifully.
He
still looks pretty calm. I mean, he must be tired, but I think the other night he only had 4 hours sleep, but he still looks pretty fresh. It's amazing how the adrenaline keeps you going, Ken.
Yeah, well, that's what it is, isn't it? It's the adrenaline, the excitement.
$25.
Yeah, he's nicely on the blue. Look at that wonderful camera shot from the back of the arena. Now this red to the left of the pink goes, and what he can do here, he can stun across with a black, but he can play this with a lot of pace as well if he wishes. Bring some reds into play. Well, he's decided just to play it gently. Could have played it with a little bit more pace, but he's still nicely on the black. He's got a nice angle on the black and may even be tempted by the pink to left centre.
Yeah, I think the pink will open the reds up much better. Well, as long as he pushes the cue ball through the reds, that is. So this is a key shot in this opening frame. Brought 3 or 4 more reds into play. The pink, as we show you the pot again, I think it's still okay when the pink goes back as near to its own. Well, is there enough room just to go onto its own spot? You need a steady thumb for that. It might be directly behind. I don't think it can go right onto its own spot. Or can it? It's a difficult spotting job for the referee, this.
You certainly want to have a steady hand, Dennis, wouldn't you? It's very close.
Thank you. 27.
Could have done with the cue ball just another couple of inches away from that pink, but he's okay.
Sure.
Perfect on the blue. Good shot.
38.
And this is a real chance now, Dennis. The red, the left red of the 4, just below the pink, pots into the bottom right-hand corner pocket. He can get on the red to the left of the black. There's his target, 64. Before Shaun will need a snooker.
43. $44.
Yeah, he's won 4 of the last 5 frames as Stuart. And that takes some doing the way Shaun Murphy has played.
Well, that was a lot better than it looked, that shot. Had to
51.
dig into the cue ball to get the spin on it to come back off the cushion. Just off straight. Just have a look at this. There he is, digging in. Get the back spin on the cue ball. Fantastic shot, that.
52.
I think this is just perfect. He can drop the pink in. It can disturb the red just to the right of the pink and still be on. A couple of reds to this corner pocket. Just push that red out of the way perfectly. And what a wonderful break this is, Dennis. All coming from that fantastic long pot from the opening.
Yeah, we can show you that one again. I mean, the cueing there to knock that right in the centre of the pocket. He was almost on the cushion. And, well, he hasn't put a foot wrong ever since. And delicate little flick off the other red here. Well, he could manage without canning,
59.
which was even better. But he's got that cue ball, as we say, on a string at the moment. He's placing it exactly where he wants. And you see 60 ahead with 59 remaining.
64.
What a start for Stuart Bingham.
Thank you. 65.
He's got a nice angle now on the black. Just to go into the possibly the middle red of the tree and bring them all into play. Wonderful shot. Perfect. Well, it's only a century now, Dennis.
Look where he's
72.
finished in this little triangle of reds. Look, left himself all sorts of choices. One to the corner, one to the middle. He's had 8 centuries here this year as Stuart. We've had 84, which beat the record of 83 in 2009. But what a start this is.
$79.
Yeah.
$80.
Well, Michelle, she'll be so excited and watching Stuart. I mean, she was interviewed yesterday and she was so nervous, and there's Mum and Dad there as well.
87.
And there's Michelle, wow. And Steve Feeney on the left there, that's his coach. Get in. Oh, he's missed it. What a shame. No century break. But what a start for Stuart Bingham. You can't do better than get one chance and make a frame-winning break. And that break of 87 takes him level at 9 frames all.
So it's all square, and significantly, Stuart Bingham on the run now. He's won 5 of the last 6 frames, John.
Hugely impressive, and the scoring in the middle. We said that at the start of the match. The one thing that gives him a bigger chance than most players is he's a scorer, and you can see that. I mean, the contribution from the last, well, 5 frames that he's won is unbelievable.
Yes, 76, 123, 89, 53 and 87.
That'll win.
He's actually a deceptively high scorer, isn't he? He always is aggressive out there, Stephen.
Absolutely, he plays the game the right way. And I was just thinking, I did the session last night, and this is one of the best finals I've watched in years. I just think it's so good to watch. I mean, it's my type of snooker. I love it. It's just players knocking long balls in, winning the frames in one visit. It's fantastic to watch.
You know, I spoke to him last night. He was sitting around the bar area in the hotel with his family, and the wee fella was still up. But he was saying that he did hit a bit of a wall at 8-4 behind, but suddenly had a bit of energy drink, and he was back and firing on all cylinders.
Well, great, because he hit it at the right time. This is the business end today. Yeah, fantastic scoring from Stuart Bingham.
last
Thank you, frame 19.
5 or 6 frames. And as you said,
Stuart
Dennis,
Bingham
looks
to
as
the-
fresh as a daisy. And loving every minute of it. I think that's the key, isn't it? I mean, he's really enjoyed himself, and throughout this championship, the victory against Ronnie O'Sullivan in the quarterfinals would have put him on a real high confidence-wise, and then of course that dramatic victory against Judd Trump in the semi-final. What a cracker that was. And we've been treated to some very special snooker, as Stephen Hendry said there, in this final already.
Yeah, they've both had 2 century breaks. There's the high break, 123 for Stuart, 121 for Shaun. But there's a string of other frame-winning breaks from both players. He has got a path back down the table here, Shaun, off the bunch of reds. But with reds either side, he's got to get a good cue ball. And it looks as if he's going to take the pot on. Can he find the gap? There's a trick shot for you, but he's very, very unlucky. He took the bull by the horns and went all out for that and tried to develop the black. He knew he was going to cannon into them. Very, very unlucky. Have a look at this shot here. What a great pot. Freed the black, and then the other red went in. In fact, it's a good thing that other red dropped there, because if it hadn't have, where was Shaun going to hide the cue ball? He's played that same snooker all the way through this year's Betfred World Championship. Attack, attack, attack. And it's paid off. Can't blame him, Ken, when it's working. Okay, sometimes you think he pushes the boat out, but it's the way he wants to play it.
Absolutely, that's his philosophy, and he's doing pretty well with it, you'd have to say. His long potting has just been sensational throughout this World Championship. And that's a pretty good shot from where he was. Quite difficult that, and he was very happy with that
From
safety.
52.
Excellent shot from where the position of the cue ball was.
Well, he's looked at the potting angle of one, but he's got to be careful he doesn't hit it thick, otherwise he could catch the black. So if it goes according to plan, he could pot it and miss the black. Yeah. Pretty good effort though, and a good return to that same area. So not only are the players winning the frames with one visit, they've now got the speed of the table with their safety exchanges. And there's another one. Everybody likes to see the big breaks going in, but it's also nice to see the odd tactical battle to see who will make the mistake. Can he knock this one in? Well, a bit thick now this time, because he hit it thick. He hasn't got the white back to the safety zone.
Yeah, black is available into the same corner pocket as this red. Beautiful shot. There's the cue ball. Is it going to slow up? Just about. Excellent pot.
Eight.
Just having a look. Just wondering, is he having a look at the possibility of those 3 reds just below the pink? Are they a plant into the bottom left-hand corner pocket?
9.
The pink certainly pots. And he has a nice angle where you can see the red is just going to the right of the pocket. So it's not a plant, but he's getting the pink out of the way here.
Just a moment, please, Shaun.
Yeah, referee just asking Shaun Murphy for a moment. Pink won't go on its spot, so again, directly behind the spot in line with the top cushion.
Which means it might just be available into the right corner pocket, that pink. And if it is, it might be an idea. Shaun will look at that now, because he could play to get onto that. Now that looks very tight though. If it had have potted, he could have potted this red, got on the pink, split the reds up. I think he still feels that
16.
well, it's gone a bit too far. It'll have to be the black. And it's one of those, he doesn't want to hit the pink full ball and stick at the back of that pack of reds that are next to the pink. So key shot coming up.
It's not too bad, is it? It could have been better. He's a bit unlucky.
26.
He hasn't left the red into the right corner pocket, but he is on this red into the left centre. And he's going around to have a look at that pink, as you said, Dennis. If it pots, it's very close to that red.
$24.
I think he played to get on the pink previously when he finished up taking the black, because he's played to leave the pink there. It's one of those, when it's right close to the red, you're not sure exactly. You see, there looks to be just enough room there for it to pass the red.
Now, as long as the pink doesn't go back in that same position, he's okay. There's plenty of room behind its spot. If there wasn't, it would have gone back in the same position and he wouldn't be on this red to the right corner. But
I'll tell you what, Ken. Olivier Martet, he's had so many tricky spots, you know, to get the pink back in the right spot there. You know, first time refereeing a final. He's as steady as a rock. Olivier works in a hospital in Belgium and gets time off to travel to referee snooker. I think he deserves a round of applause for that spotting of the pink there. So easy to play for the blue there. He was trying to hold for the black. It was just a straightforward shot to play up for the blue, and I don't know why he put a trace of side on, but he hasn't made many mistakes in this final, but that definitely was a careless one from Shaun there.
One. Six.
It's just a beautiful split. Got the red's absolutely plumb. Just watch the first shot, full ball on that red, which he needed to. And now every red available here.
7.
You could still see a little smile on Stuart's face there. He's done that throughout this year's championship. Even Judd Trump, when he was coming back and played those marvellous frames, Stuart still had a smile on his face. He is, as Ken said earlier, enjoying every single minute of this. And if he somehow could win this frame, I mean, what a time to go in front. He hasn't led in this match. And he hasn't been rushing things. He's very fluent when he's around the table, but if it calls for a little bit of concentration, he seems to be giving himself that little bit of extra time so that he doesn't play a careless shot. Not a bad thing that either, Ken.
Oh, absolutely. He knows the importance of this. Doesn't want to rush anything. He's got to play one good shot here. He's just a little bit awkward. He might have to play a cannon on this red just to the right on top of the black here and try and knock it over the corner pocket. It's gone wrong. Okay, he's got a red to the left centre, but he's trying to knock that red just
13.
towards the right-hand corner pocket. Big shot, this to the left centre. Could be a frame winner, but if he misses it, could be a frame loser. Great shot, fantastic.
14.
A lot of pressure on that shot.
And there's a typical example of a player playing into
21.
an area. He's finished awkward on the red. He played to get on, but he knew the other one was available into the opposite corner. So you're playing the cue ball in a little area that gives you choices.
Thank you. 22.
Bit of an angle on the black here, so no problem. And this would be psychologically a terrific frame to win because Shaun missed that sitter trying to hold for the black. To show you it one more time, it was so
29.
easy just to play down for the blue. He played it with a trace aside and just threw it offline.
30.
Well, you can almost hear a pin drop here. Dennis in this crucible tier. Everybody knows the importance of these frames. Yeah.
37.
All waiting, see what's gonna be the outcome. Can Stuart Bingham go into the lead for the first time in this final? The way he's
38.
playing, Dennis, everything going into the heart of the pocket.
Yeah, it's just this red that's on the cushion behind the black is going to be the key ball.
Forty-four. 45.
Yeah, in a couple of shots' time, if he can get the white drive, put the other white for that difficult red, he would just have to drop it in the pocket. So that's his plan. Red, black, and try and get somewhere near that ball, and then he would leave himself, well, the
51.
best possible chance of rolling that red in along the cushion. What is he now? He's 19 in front, 20, 27. He'll only need that red, so just drop it in.
Oh,
Bingham 51.
Can you believe it? Never expected that. Wow. I think he was so concentrating on getting a good angle on the black, Dennis, that he just tried to nick a bit of the pocket, put it into the right-hand side of the pocket, and to make sure the angle. Wow.
1. Thank you.
Well, I think that's exactly what he was doing. He was concentrating on the position and just took his eye off the pot.
It's not the best shot Shaun Murphy has ever played on that red. He's a little bit straight on this black. He may have to come off the side cushion, try and get close to this red. Well, he's trying to knock it out, and it's gone wrong. He's tried to knock the red towards the right-hand corner pocket.
8.
And now, well, surely he's not going to go for this. Wow, this is tough. What a tough shot to take on.
Shaun Murphy 8.
Well, that was much tougher. Then he had it dropped in behind it, but I suppose moving it was a good option, but that was very tough. Similar for Stuart. And I think that's not a bad choice if the red keeps going.
Yeah, good shot. There's enough room to swerve around this black, but being so close to the cushion, it's very difficult.
Yeah, if he can't swerve it, he's got to go off a couple of cushions with a little bit of side.
Yeah, the problem about that shot is, Dennis, that if he hits a full ball, he's going to be knocking the red close to this bottom right-hand corner pocket. So he has to trust a lot of luck. May come off the side cushion just before the middle.
It's quite a swerve shot, and that's what he's going to play, but he's pretty good at this shot. But once again, you never know where you're going to knock them. I'll tell you what.
He's certainly happy with that.
Well, there's a gap. So Stuart can get the advantage here again. Green and brown are a pretty good target to get the snooker behind. Now, has he found the gap also? And if he has, he might be able to take the pot on. Look at that, eh? There's always a gap, Ken.
Mind the gap. He's going to be going for this, no doubt about it.
Where's the red going? Where's that red going to finish? Oh, it will cut in. This is a chance for Stuart. Well, he has won 5 of the last 6 frames, believe it or not. And if he was to take this frame,
Three. Five.
Well, what a frame to win for Stuart Bingham. Thought he lost his chance when he left that red in the bottom right-hand corner pocket with 2 reds remaining.
8.
What a steal. And as you said, Dennis, what sort of a psychological blow will this deliver to Shaun Murphy? First time he's behind in the match. Led by 4 frames
70.
at one stage. This is 6 out of the last 7 frames for Stuart Bingham. What a turnaround. Well, the pink doesn't go in, and Shaun Murphy will stay in his chair and says, that's enough. And for the first time, Stuart Bingham goes into the lead in this final. He leads Shaun Murphy by 10 frames to 9.
Well, Stuart Bingham's got off to a flyer today, and that opening red that he played in the first frame, he struck it so well. Let's just take a look at this particular shot. Long red, we can see it right down the throat of the shot. Take a look at Stuart Bingham's cue. Just look at the cue, OK? All the time we're going to look at the cue. Right, he's just about to hit the ball, going to wind that back. Now, we're told that you should be able to keep your cue in a straight line, and when you deliver the cue, you must keep it in a straight line. Otherwise, if it deviates, you're going to push the cue ball off course. Now, very slowly, just watch as I run this forward now. OK, Stuart Bingham's now just about to hit the ball. Here we go. The cue doesn't go in a dead straight line. So what's happening? Has he actually pushed the ball off course? And if the cue doesn't go through in a dead straight line, what's actually happening? Question for you. There's the cue ball. Here's the cue. It comes along. It contacts the white ball. How long do you think the tip of the cue is in contact with the white ball on a power shot like that? Is it a couple of inches? If it was a couple of inches, it could push the ball off course. Actually, it's more or less instantaneous. So the moment the tip hits the ball, it's more or less gone immediately. So therefore, even though the follow-through is important to prove you might have hit the ball in a straight line, actually, as long as you contact it at the right place to start with, the ball is off on its route. So that's how some of the players don't necessarily always look like they're cueing in a straight line, but they can actually hit the ball to very accurate levels.
Thank you, Steve. We'll be asking you questions about that demonstration a little bit later on.
Is anyone still watching this?
Tell me about how much belief you sense is coursing through the veins of Stuart Bingham right now.
It looks like he really believes he can win this match now. I think yesterday with the occasion, we talked about he only had 3 hours sleep. Last night, obviously, he got right back into it. Today, he looks like he's got a real purpose out there to me around the table.
And so fresh. He looks so much fresher than he did at this time yesterday.
He does, and as you say, that session yesterday was the one where he was tired great. But listen, it's the first time Shaun Murphy's been asked a serious question here. He's behind for the first time in this final. What's he got left?
Well, I would think Shaun's got plenty left, because I go back to when he won this title 10 years ago. He was way behind against Matthew Stevens. I came down on the coach with a lot of Matthew's supporters from South Wales, and Shaun Murphy absolutely played out of his skin to lift that title 18-16. So he can call on that if he needs it. If Stuart Bingham keeps knocking these in, Shaun Murphy might not get a chance to get to the table, because this is awesome stuff from Stuart.
Eight. Nine.
Yeah, reds are split nice. He'd love to get those couple of reds out of the way, just above the black. Would have loved to have been straighter
16.
on this red, so he could just push through for the black again. So not straightforward here. May have to. Just wondering, Dennis, can he stun into the pack off this red? Pot the red, the low red, go into the pack, stunned by the red just above it, and try and bring some more reds into play. It's dangerous. Yeah,
17.
Lost the cue ball a little bit, didn't he?
He was just hampered, wasn't he, with
Yeah.
his bridge hand there. That other red was a distraction that he was bridging over. Well, what a test of your cue action this is. What a test of your nerve. That's fantastic. That
Yeah,
24.
he got a lovely little nudge on the red for right centre. Deserved it. What a magnificent pot that was. I don't want to tempt fate, Dennis, but this is
I know
four reds and four blacks coming up here.
And I knew you were going to say that, Ken. He has done it on 3 occasions, has Stuart.
Missed the pink against me and the World Championship a few years ago with just pink and black left, and I tell you, I think that's all that's missing in this World Championship final. We've had everything else, but let's not talk about it just yet. No. Let's not put the buck on him just yet. Let's just, frame is more important at this stage.
32.
But the balls are sitting beautifully. And there's no
33.
doubt about it, Dennis. It'll be certainly in the back of his mind.
Sure.
Just having the cue ball clean, that'll give him a little bit more thinking time. This is what Steve was talking about when you're pushing the cue through. So the ball leaves immediately even though you follow through. Just making sure of where the cue ball's going to finish if he plays the cannon. But as you say, Ken, the frame is the most important thing. And that could have finished better. He's pushed a red onto the cushion. He's left one for the corner, but he's going to have to cannon another red.
40.
So any thought of the maximum break has gone. I mean, he could still push through this one, but
He could try and stun into that red, couldn't he, and push the cue ball over to the left-hand side of the table. Needs a bounce. Needs a bounce.
41.
Well, he's on the black. It's not bad.
and he's got the high break at the moment along with Neil Robertson. They've both made a 145 break. £10,000 for the high break. And it's there. If a maximum break was made,
48.
it would be £20,000 plus the 10 for the high break, so £30,000 on offer for a maximum.
Thank you.
Well, he's not down. He's certainly in his mind now.
There's Eddie and Maureen, Stuart's parents there. And, well, is it possible? Anything's possible the way Stuart has played in this year's World Championship, but is he focused or what?
One good cannon into those two reds just below the pink here. Bring them into play. Needs a little nudge on him. He's got it. That's okay. He's nudged that red.
56.
Well, both red. The red to the left of the pink now will pot eventually when he gets the other couple of reds out of the way. And has he got an angle on this red to get back for the black?
Well, if he's dead straight, he can screw back off the cushion and add on to the black. He's got a couple of other options that he's looking at. Yeah, he can screw back off that one and get on the black if he wants, but he spotted another one.
Now, well played. Nicely controlled. Again, a nice angle on this black if he wants to. Go into the two reds again below the pink and still be on a red into the bottom right hand corner pocket. Doesn't have to, of course.
I think you had it right the first time, Ken. The way he's nudged those two reds, if he puts the one to the left of the pink
64.
in a few shots time, it'll clear the path for the one to the right, so it's still on track here. There's just the one red that's going to prove to be difficult, the one near the cushion, and this time he's gone a bit too far. Is he going to try and cannon those two reds this time? He has, and he's played it well. He needed to do that to stop the white from going way up the table.
Thank you. 73.
Well,
It's getting exciting, isn't it?
oh, my hands are perspiring here.
Well, that's the frame out of the way.
80.
Now, the only red I'd have to say is the difficult one is the one that's tightest to the right hand side cushion.
And it's at this stage that Shaun Murphy would love to see Stuart make a maximum break. Once the frame's over, you're willing your opponent to go on and make that magical 147. And there's someone watching. He'll be maybe in the players' lounge. The man that made the first ever maximum break at the Crucible, Cliff Thorburn, will be watching this. Never been a 147 in the final of a World Championship.
Yeah, nicely controlled. Get into the cue ball there just to slow the pace
88.
down. Get a nice angle after potting this red on the black. He may be thinking about taking the red out. He's got a nice angle. He's left it high enough. He's got a perfect angle
89.
here. Pot the black. Try and knock the red that's closest to the right hand side cushion up over the middle. It'll still be on the red into the bottom right hand corner pocket. One good shot here and this could open it all out.
This is the shot if he can pull it off.
Go on, hit it, hit it. Oh, just a bit harder. He's willing it over the pocket. Oh, how close was that?
96.
Just needed another fraction. Come on, Stuart, you can do
97.
this.
The red now, Dennis, not quite. He's going to come around and have a look at it. It may be on for a double. That's what he's looking at there. It may be just possible. And he could try and play on the two reds here. Red left of the pink. If he's high enough, well, okay, he's got the century. He's played it the other way.
104.
I think the red's a bit close to the middle pocket to double. He's going to have to play to move it.
105.
He would need to be somewhere near the blue to double the red. Now this is an amazing shot coming up. It's make your mind up time. He's coming round. See, he's queuing up as if he was playing it with the blue. No good leaving it this side of the blue. It's too near the middle pocket.
Well, he couldn't have asked for a better angle on this black, but it's so difficult to judge to try and get that red over the middle pocket. It's going to take some shot.
Come on, come on!
It's not touching.
112.
If it's not touching, it has a chance. Please don't be touching. It's not touching. He has a half a chance. That's so unlucky, Dennis.
Just a fraction, and I'm sure we would have had that magical maximum. What he wants to do is have the white clean and then move it a little bit
Settle
to the
down.
left. I think it's so thin, even if he hit it, the white would sort of run right around the table. Let's see what happens. No.
Oh, such a shame. What a fantastic effort from Stuart Bingham. The whole of the Crucible Tierna were willing him on there. And what an opportunity for a maximum, but he's won another frame. And it's now Stuart Bingham 11, Shaun Murphy 9.
What an effort. The closest to ever make a maximum in the final is sitting in this studio. Stephen Hendry at a 125, missed the yellow, 1996. But what an effort, and significantly, obviously, a wonderful effort there, but 2 frames clear. And he's now won 7 frames out of the last 8, John Parrott.
I've never known a tournament like this where I've seen players in one round look absolutely like the winner of the championship, and then the next round of the match you see it change completely. Trump was unbelievable in the quarter-final, Murphy unbelievable in the semi, and Stuart Bingham is unbelievable in the most important one of the lot, which is the final.
But it was quite funny because the last one maximum made here, was against Stuart Bingham by Stephen Hendry 3 years ago. All kinds of echoes coming into your mind there, Steve.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, fantastic effort, really. I mean, he was pinpoint position the whole way through the break. Really unlucky with the final cannon there. But the form he's shown here today is just incredible.
I mean, this is someone who's never won a home soil ranking event we're talking about here. OK, yeah, he's won in China, he's won in Asia, he's won tournaments, won the league, but never won a home soil ranking event, and he's playing like this. Phenomenal performance.
It's a brilliant final. I really hope you're enjoying it as much as we are.
I'm sure they are, Hazel. It's fascinating stuff. Has left that possible pot on for Shaun. Well, what a test of character now for Shaun Murphy. How close can he get to this? Well played. Very well played.
1.
Mid-session interval coming up, and for the first time the former champion is playing catch-up. This is a confident shot. Easy yellow. He's taking the more difficult blue. Now then, that is a worrying sign.
Shaun Murphy 1.
He's missed very few of those.
1. Eight. Nine.
Yeah, that was an amazing shot on the blue. Well, look at the position he had on the yellow. He could have put it the yellow and got easily on a red. And he just got down, and it just shows you when there's a bit of pressure and tension. You know, those blues are not gimmies. But this fella can't put a foot wrong at the moment. This is an awesome display from Stuart Bingham.
16.
It's like he was in his club having a practice session. And this is the final day of the World Snooker Championship. And he's playing at the peak of his form. He's won 7 out of the last 8 frames. Quite incredible.
Thank you. 17.
Yeah. Wants to get the blue back up on its spot. Oh yeah, what a incredible turnaround we're having here. We're witnessing. And even for Shaun Murphy, and you can tell, Dennis, because like he's been kept away from the table for so
22.
long. I mean, that was an unusual choice of shot, the blue. Could have easily taken the brown or the yellow, much easier shot. But he's just been kept cold, you'd have to say. And
I mean, the putt
23.
success rate for this session, Stuart Bingham at 93%. Look where Shaun's dropped down to, but he hasn't missed that many, but that was a costly miss, you would have to say. Well, that tells a story. 290 points to 45.
30. $31. $38. $39.
The best of angles on the black because the reds are all covering each other now. I mean, what a story this is. 20 years dreaming of getting to a final of a World Championship. He won his first world ranking title in 2011 in Australia. And everything is working lovely. I mean, his positional play
46.
had to be so precise there. He's looking to get to 69 in this frame to leave Shaun needing a snooker, and if he can get an angle on, well, green or brown, he could go into that bunch of reds. Might be easier to get on one of the balk colours than the blue. Just depends on the angle he has here. misses the yellow, he'll be on the green, and he can go into the bunch.
47.
He's got the brown or the green. I think the green's a better angle, but that's where he's going.
Doesn't want to be too straight on this red. Good
50.
split, but has he got enough angle? Looks very straight. This. There was the split. So we watch it again. Nicely knocked the red towards the pocket, but unfortunately for Stuart, it's just a little bit straight on this red. Can he force an angle?
Listen, if he plays to screw this in, he can wobble this. He's going to hit it so hard. Yeah, and where's that red going to go? Over the pocket by the looks of things.
Stuart Bingham, 50.
Wow, it hasn't. I thought for a moment Shaun was going to have an easy starter. As we show you that attempt, but at that pace, very little chance of knocking him in. But the red now is difficult, Ken. It's over that corner.
Yeah, just a little bit close to the cushion. Quite a lot of distance between cue ball and red ball. It's not straightforward, this, even to get out on a colour. Yeah, just sort of had to make sure of the pop. Oh, would be tempted. Maybe not this time.
Bramble. Shaun Murphy, 1.
Played a safety shot, but it could have been better. As he snookered on the reds just below the pink. Well, it looks like he snookered on those red. He's got a straightforward swerve, the red to the left of the pink, but could possibly be leaving something. So 2 cushion escape here.
Needs to get this right. Needs a thin one off the reds. And he's played it. Where's the pink? Well, he's left one red out. And what a test for Shaun Murphy. We've seen him miss a blue off the spot into the corner. This is the type of shot he's so good at, but listen, he's lost 7 out of 8 frames. That doesn't make them any easier. No. And all of a sudden that Rolls-Royce cue action has been put under extreme pressure, and even the best in the world, when you are kept off the table, it's so difficult. Worrying times for Shaun and his supporters.
One.
There's his target, 62 points. He's just ran that cue ball just a little bit further than he would have liked. Played it off the red just to hold the pace of the cue ball. He's only a
8.
couple of pots away now from another frame, and this interval, Dennis, it may have come at a good time for Shaun Murphy, because at the moment he doesn't have the clarity of mind.
Nine.
Well, talking about clarity of mind, Stuart Bingham, wow, he's quite amazing at the moment. His thinking is so clear.
Well, he couldn't have asked for a better start, could he?
16.
I mean, everything is coming so easy to him. And there's another little smile from Stuart. I mean,
17.
keep going, keep going. Well, 65, the difference. There's only 51 on the table. That looks like another frame for Stuart Bingham. Don't blame Shaun for playing on here. You can get a couple of blacks.
1.
And the yellow and brown as they are, they're not too badly placed for snookers. But he must be in a little bit of shock at the moment, Shaun. He knows what a great player Stuart Bingham is. But he never in his wildest dreams thought he would lose 8 out of 9 frames. Not the way Shaun's been playing.
Thank you. 9.
And once again, this Crucible crowd are so quiet. You could hear
60.
a pin drop. I think they weren't expecting this sort of performance from Stuart Bingham, but I mean, it's been enthralling stuff. That's the first of the snookers.
From Murphy, 16.
It's not a bad one, actually, because if Stuart doesn't hit the red, every chance he could leave a free ball, which gives you a chance of a sort of an extra red on the table, so to speak.
And it looks like that pink is in the way. Just the straightforward escape with 2 cushions. Left cushion, top cushion, and hit the red, but pink's in the way there, so you may have to come across the right hand side of the table.
Well, if he goes the right hand side of the table, he'd have to get somewhere near the middle pocket off a couple of cushions, but if he slips past the red, he'd leave a free ball. The pink's exactly where he'd like to be able to hit the cushion. It's right in the way.
I'm just wondering, can he see enough of that off one cushion? Dennis, it's got to go very close to the yellow. But off one cushion may just be enough for him past the yellow to hit the red. Oh, well.
Foul. Shaun
He's
Murphy,
got a
5.
bit lucky there. A full ball. Kiss on the blue and the cue ball in the middle of the table. It would have been a definite free ball.
Yeah, no missed call because we're at the snookers required stage. He's hit that too hard. This could be the end of this frame. Unbelievable. What a performance from Stuart Bingham to come out here and win all 4
8.
frames of this session. That's 8
10.
out of the 9 last frames. Who would have thought that?
Yeah, and it's also
13.
been done in spectacular fashion. I mean, the standard of breaks. Could have possibly had a maximum thrown into the bargain. I mean, as far as Stuart's concerned, it's
17.
snooker from the gods, Dennis.
Yeah, doing it in the theatre of dreams. Doesn't matter, it's rolling off a little bit. Oh, it still goes in.
22. $28.
Little trick shot to finish off with. In off the white. No.
Yeah,
He's won all 4 frames in this session. 8 frames out of 9. Can you believe it? Stuart Bingham now leads Shaun Murphy by 12 frames to 9.
Yes, 6 half-centuries and 2 centuries in his last 8 frames. Absolutely extraordinary to win 8 out of 9. And we'll just remind you, this is the man who came here in the year 2000 and he knocked a certain Stephen Hendry out in his very first match. He didn't win another match until 2008. Only got past the second round in 2013 where he was royally thumped by Ronnie O'Sullivan in the quarterfinals. And here he is. He's 3 frames ahead in the Crucible final. This is a fairy tale, Stephen Hendry.
Incredible. His dressing room is a lot more peaceful than I think Shaun Murphy's will be, I'll tell you that. It was interesting watching Shaun after he missed that last long red. It's the first sign of emotion I think I've seen in the whole championship, shaking his head. He looked bemused in his chair. I don't think he knows what's hit him, basically.
The interval yesterday, you were talking about this, John, really came to Stuart's rescue yesterday, last night. How important is this one for Shaun Murphy?
Well, he'd have to hope that it's come to his rescue today just to get him out of there, because if they'd have carried on playing the way it is at the moment, Stuart would be running away with this. He's just so much on top in the match. Shaun just looks a little bit at sea, and his shot selection's a bit weird as well today. I mean, he's played a couple of shots today. He's on a black here early on. This could have changed the session. Pot the black and leave the cue ball where it is now. Don't play and try and play the cannon and knock it over. It's a low percentage shot. Just leave yourself a shot on it. And then, of course, Stephen, he's got this.
Well, he's got an easy yellow. I mean, you know, with his cue action, it's not a difficult shot to screw back to yellow or green for one of them open reds, and he's chose to play. Oh, obviously, he thinks he's going to pot it, but at that stage, why take the difficult one when you don't have to?
You know, try and make it a little bit easy for yourself at the moment. You're at sea. You know, your opponent's playing better than you are. Everything he's looking, he's knocking in. Just try and make it easy and get yourself a foothold in the session.
But these are questions that Shaun hasn't really been asked to this point in the championship. Anthony McGill had a good go at him. He stayed with him the longest in their quarter-final. But other than that, he's been the one that's been pace-setting. It's a total turnaround in his thinking here, John.
Absolutely it is, and he's got to find something from somewhere now. Well, you know, the great champions like this fella I'm sitting next to and Steve David, they were behind in matches and they come back to win. He's got to find something from somewhere.
So how do you find it? What do you tell yourself in this situation then?
Well, the interval, as we've said, has come at a good time. I think he'll be getting some stern words probably said to him by his manager and the coach Chris Henney, just to say you're still in it. There's still a very long way to go. He just needs to maybe put a couple of good long balls, make a frame winning break, and I'm sure that'll bring his confidence back.
And win the next mini session at least 3-1. I mean, 2-2, you know, 2-2's not great. You know, going into the final session 3 frames behind, I wouldn't fancy that either.
OK, so a lot to do. OK, we're going to have a quick look back because this year's World Championship got underway, just under a month ago now with the qualifying rounds, and this marks the 17th day of play here inside this little theatre. And in that time, we've unearthed some new stars like Anthony McGill. We have witnessed some absolutely unbelievable tension in this studio and also in the Winter Gardens, and obviously all of the people here in this wonderful little theatre. And we have witnessed the most number of centuries ever made in a championship. These boys are really, really good.
Well, it's one for the money.
Instead of having a shot of the championship, why don't they have a shoe of the championship?
Go, cat, go, but don't you step on my blue.
Is there any holes there? Anything need darning?
You can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoe.
Because it'd be quite slippy.
Well, you can knock me down, step in my face, slander my name all over.
Yeah, I've seen some things there at the Crucible. I can't remember anyone ever playing with no shoes
Lay
on.
off of my shoes, don't you step on my blue suede shoe. You can do anything but lay off of my blue suede shoe.
Okay, sir?
Oh,
Thank you
yeah.
very much. Thank you. Cheers. Oh.
He's smiling away.
Crucible curse continues.
Look at the smile on Anthony's face. Everybody's smiling in the Crucible Theatre here.
Hang on, he's left-handed normally.
It's there. Well played, Jeremy Jones.
Where's the cue ball going?
I'm not sure what's happened behind the boys. Your computer is at risk.
Marco thinks it's PlayStation.
Oh, even the referee's dropping the what's happening here.
Well, he's having a problem with his bow tie. It's come undone. Suits you, sir.
Out of control. Out of control.
He's getting frustrated, Ronnie.
That's a poor one.
Out of control.
Oh, he's missed it. Oh. That's a couple of little things that's happened.
34.
We haven't seen this for quite some time, but he is disgusted with himself. Wow, you can see how much the cue bent there. Wow, I felt that. Once again, annoyed with himself. Must have been something, just a little gesture. So Olivia Martel just telling Ronnie and giving him a little warning.
This is Bjorn from Norway, the first ever professional yodeler to appear at the Crucible. Bjorn, 3, 2, 1, you're live.
Where's this red going? Wow.
100 mile an hour, like a rat up the drain pipe.
That was a JT special. It's not finished yet. Hang on, it's not finished yet.
What a pop that was.
That pocket nearly got broken.
Oh, he didn't even look at that one.
Dennis is the best.
Cost me a few quid to get him to put that on that hand.
I used to be that thin.
Suits you, son.
We've got Dennis on the left, me in the middle, and that pink crash helmet is Willie.
I don't know what happened. I didn't hear the referees calling the score.
Oh, what's he done?
Kidding.
What has he done?
You're kidding. How to cost yourself about 30,000 in 1 minute?
Get in there. Get in there. Oh. Well, so unlucky in the end.
Oh, he's queued across it. 11 reds, 11 blacks. What an effort from Stuart Bingham. It has to be the best win of his career, and that's what it means to.
Just unbelievable. Come on, grow up.
What a shot. What a shot. Unbelievable snooker. And this Crucible crowd are giving Stuart Bingham a standing ovation. And doesn't he deserve it?
It's just, it means so much. Well done.
He's all right. I tell you what, we've seen some of the great shots of that championship. We haven't had some laughs here, have we, the last few days? But we've seen some wonderful shots as well. And we would like you to be the judge of the best shots, and you can do so. We've got quite a few suggestions for you, actually, and you'll see them all via the BBC Sport website. Now, you can vote via the website. You can click on the shot of your choice, or you can tweet the hashtag of the shot you like best. For example, hashtag #ShotA to @BBC Snooker. Terms and conditions at bbc.co.uk/snooker, and we're going to close this vote at 6 o'clock tonight, and then we're going to announce your result in this evening's programme and on the website, which will get you warmed up for another vote later this week. But we're talking about the championship per se, and when we look back on it, the Crucible curse remains intact. That was one of the big talking points. How big an asset was Anthony McGill to this championship when he knocked out Mark Selby and he made his way through to the quarterfinals?
I think he was great for the event. I think every year we seem to have one player that the public perhaps haven't seen playing live before, and Anthony came through and was a breath of fresh air. He knocked out obviously Mark Selby, and as we've said many times, he played unlike a Scotsman with a smile on his face.
I was going to say, it was good to see a Scotsman play snooker really well at the Crucible. It's been a while.
Well, I'll tell you what, he was the best of 5 Scots this time, wasn't he? But Ronnie O'Sullivan never really looked like a shoe-in, if you'll pardon the pun, for another world title. And it's hard to believe. This is the first final since, 2011 that he hasn't featured in. Yeah. And he himself has suggested that this might mark a changing of the guard, perhaps.
Well, he's getting approaching 40 years of age. The only thing is he looks after himself so well and he's so fit that I'm pretty sure that he'll be back in. And he just wasn't right for this event. He didn't look right mentally. He was sort of concentrating in fits and starts, which is not like Ronnie. Lately he's been great. And certainly in the big events he's been turning up. You know, he's played Judd in a lot of the finals. He just, for whatever reason, wasn't right at the Crucible here. But you would never write him off. He's got too much talent. What's
your impression of what's next for Ronnie, Stephen?
I don't know. Obviously, he doesn't play in the events that everyone else plays in. He picks and chooses what he wants to play in. I don't know how much he enjoys day-to-day practice. I don't know how much practice he even does. But if he's, you know, I expressed surprise when he said he was happy with just 5 world titles. If he is happy, he's not the person I thought he was, because I thought he was quite a driven sportsman. If that's the case, then who knows what he's going to do now.
And we had so many other events. We saw Ding Junhui forgetting he was on a maximum. That was an extraordinary thing. And that semi-final on Saturday night, when Stuart Bingham had that plant along the top cushion in order to beat a certain Judd Trump. How will Judd reflect on his championship, and in particular that rather bruising defeat on Saturday night?
He will look back on it as a missed opportunity. You know, he's put a lot of work in, and you have to with the Crucible just to get down to that stage. He will look back on that as a missed opportunity, and he was favourite for the match to win. He'll have thought he was favourite, and he didn't get over the line in it, so it'll be a sore few days for Judd going home and sitting there and certainly turning the television on and watching everyone else play.
And very briefly, all of this underlines what price keeping your place in the top 16 in order to go through what is now a tortuous qualifying process.
I know. I think we looked at it yesterday. Williams, I think, Maguire, John Higgins all in pretty precarious positions.
All right, well, I'm sure they'll be battling away to try and get here without having to go through that. And that new qualifying procedure was one of the major tweaks that's been introduced in what has been a bit of a revolution in snooker over the last 5 years since Barry Hearn even took over at the helm. In fact, there's so many changing aspects in snooker. Only last week, they actually went to the International Olympic Committee and they are bidding to try and get into the Tokyo Summer Games. These are exciting times for the sport as it expands globally. And Barry Hearn introduced a few more changes for the coming 5 years. Ken Doherty was all ears.
5 years ago, snooker was at a crossroads. You could almost say that the future of the game came down to a spin of the coin.
Five years ago, I had a phone call from some of the players to say, would I come back? By a very small majority, they agreed for my takeover of World Snooker. I don't do chairmanships, I do control, because I'm a control freak and that's how I am. That's what it says on the tin.
So whether you were a Barry supporter or not, the game definitely needed a shake-up.
I looked at snooker and I was saddened by the predicament it was in 5 years ago. There was no vision, there was no energy.
We were down to around 6 ranking tournaments a year, so the players were often almost unemployed for long periods, weeks at a time, even months at a time, between the big, the major ranking tournaments that were there. Barry had a very, very clear vision, certainly for that first 5 years, of what he thought snooker needed.
You've got to smash things up sometimes to start a game.
Barry went to work and his 5-year plan totally changed our sport. Number of tournaments went from 8 to 27, with new European Tour and Asian Tour events taking the game to new countries. Prize money up from 3.5 million to 8 million, inspiring young players from all over the globe to join a vibrant and lucrative Pro Tour.
This is incredible growth, and it's all been achieved in what has been recessional times in many places that we operate.
We go to China and, we get mobbed by fans and they're fanatical about it.
What he's done for the game, I think, has been amazing.
He's given you opportunity.
Some of the players who've done best are the ones who pack the case and do a bit of travelling. People like Stuart Bingham, who's played in pretty much everything.
For me, I think this is sort of 24, 25 tournaments I've entered, and I want more.
We've exceeded our expectations and we're still building.
One of Barry's most dramatic introductions has been the flat 128 draw, where every player is equal and the top 16 are all in with the rest.
We've delivered mostly to the most important people, which is the players. And it is brutal, as all professional sport must be. Doesn't matter who you are, you go in on day one. It's a level playing field based solely on ability. No favours, no handouts, no boys club. Got to earn your money, same as I do every day I go to work. I expect the same out of sportsmen. And it's worked. We've seen people like Anthony McGill come through the system, a little star is being born.
He's got a licence to thrill. He's Anthony McGill.
We've seen Michael White, 23 years old, go off to India, win the Indian Open. These guys would never have had their chance under the old system.
Barry has done absolutely amazing. I think for players such as myself that are lower down the rankings, we want to be playing week in, week out, playing as much snooker as possible, giving ourselves the best chance.
Everyone's sort of on a level playing field now, so if you get to the top, you get rewarded.
I don't like it, personally. It is what it is, and you have to get on with it, and if you don't like it, get out.
There'll be a few sob stories, the guys that lose, the guys that think, oh, it was better when I was more protected in the past. They're talking to the wrong person. It's brutal. Sport has to be brutally entertaining.
This week, Barry rolled into town to announce his next 5-year plan with some interesting and eye-catching headlines.
We're happy with 5 years, but, as always, complacency is not in our dictionary, so we're pushing ahead.
Prize money for the World Championship will hit £2 million, with £500,000 to the winner. Pro Tour prize money will hit the magic £10 million in 2016. A new home series of Welsh, Scottish, Irish and English Opens will be launched in 2 years' time. In addition to a major ranking event, the European Open, and a golf-style FedEx Cup series of World Grand Prix for the top 32 and the Players' Championship for the top 16. As the game expands, new Q schools will be set up around the globe.
It's a continuation. It's not quite as radical a programme as perhaps the first one, but it was never going to be because it's already up and running.
It has gone global, and I think there's a lot more room in that at the moment as well. We want to build big events in big cities, and we want to create some great stars in those countries.
If some of these young players from Europe and Asia continue to come into the sport and develop at the rate they are, I think the future is pretty healthy for snooker.
For me to say I think it will go to 15 million or 20 million, to be honest, I have no idea. What I do know is that we're a global sport that is growing every single month of the year. There is no limit to where we can go. So we get the first peg, if you like, achieved, double figure millions, never been seen before, and then we'll go where we're led. But I think we can all be very optimistic.
Barry's revolution is gaining momentum. Is he the saviour of snooker? Well, the last 5 years would suggest he is, but what about the next 5?
This game is just at the beginning, the dawn of a new era.
It's tails. Barry wins.
Yeah, certainly shaking it up. John Parrott, Steve Davis wondered aloud in our studio the other day what might have happened to the sport had this revolution not taken place. What's your view?
He's done an unbelievable job to turn it around and to get that prize money and get the opportunities for people to play. And incredible, you know, I was playing the last season or so I was playing, there was 6 or 7 events. You know, you could have played a bit of snooker and drove a taxi. I mean, it was as simple as that. There was so much time in the year to do other things. But they've got a full calendar to play. And if I was 20 years of age now starting off with the same enthusiasm I had for it at 20 years of age, and I was single and not really bothered about being at home, I would embrace this circuit wholeheartedly.
You know, one thing that wasn't really touched upon in the film, because it's a different subject, if you like, is who's benefited so far. Albeit everybody's benefited, but I'm looking at players like Stuart Bingham, Joe Perry, Barry Hawkins, Mark Davis. Now, these are players 36 and older who you would think their careers would naturally be in decline, and yet they're the ones on the up.
I know, I think you've got players there that traditionally they just love to play snooker, and there just hasn't been enough snooker for them. And as I agree with John, I think if you're a young player now with ambitions to play snooker, you couldn't wish to have a better time to start playing.
Honestly, you've been let loose in the chocolate factory. It really is that good, because you've got an opportunity. And the great thing about we're talking about Barry,
if you've got a sponsor.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yes, so, initially.
Exactly, that's the one thing. He's aware that the expenses are high for the players, and he's also aware that there needs to be a drip of prize money further down so more players earn a better living. He's aware of that.
And he's said he's going to try and sort that in order to perhaps spread the prize money a little bit further down. Yeah. Anyway, it's the top prize money we are concerned about here tonight, because this is the final of the 2015 Betfred World Championship, and it's Stuart Bingham who has a 3 frames advantage as we go in to play 4 more frames this afternoon. And we're going to share them now in the company of Willie Thorne and John Virgo. John, you had the pleasure of calling that 84th and record-breaking century of any championship here at the Crucible last night. This has truly been a special year.
It certainly has, Hazel. And, well, the question is now, Willie...
22. Shaun Murphy to break.
Shaun Murphy has never been in this position. We saw how Stuart Bingham responded from being 4 frames behind when he was 8-4. Can the interval turn this around?
Intervals normally do turn things around, but I was a little bit worried the way that Shaun competed in the first 4 frames, missed a lot more balls than he has done in any other session. Stuart Bingham, though, was quite simply awesome. And to be perfectly honest, I thought he played the maximum break wonderfully well, deserved to get it, but now he's got to regroup again and try and win this mini-session. If he wins this mini-session, he'll be a massive favourite going into tonight.
Well, applause, but he won't be happy with that. Caught it much too thin, so he was aware of the possible double kiss. But this is now, this may show us how Shaun's feeling after the mid-session interval. He usually knocks these in for fun. Right in the heart, nicely round on the black.
1.
Well,
8.
he's played that nicely. And removing this red, he'll make the black available into both corners. Willie was
9.
mentioning if Stuart could win these 4 frames, his little mini session, but of course Shaun will be well aware of that. He's playing catch-up for the first time in the match. He's being asked a big question.
It's a little surprising to note, John, that Shaun never went into the practice room during the interval when you think he'd been kept off the table, really, the
16.
4 frames before the interval. Do you find that surprising?
A little bit, because he missed a few of his normal trademark long pots. I thought he might have gone in just to make certain he was fine in the middle of the cue ball, but he obviously didn't feel he did much wrong. And in all fairness,
17.
he didn't do a lot wrong. Okay, missed a few long ones, but of course they magnified so much when your opponent gets in and then clears the table.
He played a little can on the 2 reds just to the right of the pink here, just to slow the cue ball down, plus he's bound to be one in the middle pocket, and he's bound to be one in the corner. I decided to play for a loose one. It's unlike Shaun, that, to be honest.
Yeah, I can only assume that this
22.
red immediately below the pink is available to the right corner.
We didn't spot that one, John.
$23. $29.
29 points scored. He needs to get to 70 to get to the snooker's required stage.
30.
But it's just what he'd have been looking for. First opportunity in this frame.
$37. $38.
Just the one remaining loose red.
$43.
No, after the red and black, he'll be 51 points in front. Is there another loose red?
Yeah, I think there is one, isn't there? Just available, which you can play on.
Thank you. 44.
The one that's just released from that little cluster of 5. I think it'll go into the same pocket as the black. May fancy leaving himself low on it, so in potting it he can open the other reds. Didn't go in the middle of the pocket. That's why he's just overrun his position, but he's okay, but
51.
needs a good angle now on the black, imperative.
52.
And he hasn't got it.
No. I'd have wanted a bit more angle than this.
This is a great effort, considering he's been kept off the table for the previous 4 frames. He's on the one into the yellow pocket, and he can get onto the black comfortably.
Yes, but you'd like to have been straighter on this, wouldn't you? If he was straighter on it, he'd have to do nothing with the cue ball. As I say, if it was straight,
Shaun
then he
Murphy,
could have just
59.
concentrated on the pot and not out in the middle of the cue ball. It brought the break to a halt. Good contribution, as Willie said, but not enough.
Shaun Murphy, all tournament has been going into the pack early. That's the first time he hasn't. OK, he's got 59 points, but at this level, it's not enough.
Well, that's the thing that Shaun wants to do, really, is play a safety shot off this cluster of 5 red in between the pink and black, because them being tied up suits him. Of course, if Stuart ever got any opportunity, he would try and bring them into play. But it's not a guaranteed safety in the ball, Ken, so he needs to have this cue ball tight to the top cushion. Well, I think tighter would have been better. I don't know whether Stuart can dig in and open the reds and bring this cue ball back behind the black. He may be able to.
Yeah, Stuart would love to bring those reds into play, so should he get a chance, he's able to clear at one visit. But as John mentioned, I'm not too sure whether he can get a good white, so he may be reluctant to open the reds up. Well, he's certainly trying to get a good white. And as you see, he didn't get into the cue ball at all, but at first glance, apart from a double that's possibly on, there's nothing left.
Well, I'm looking right down the line where he can get to this red to the far left corner. Another tester for Shaun. One you'd normally expect him to get, but the pressure's on now. And long pot success for both players. Low.
Under the circumstances, excellent. Well, you've lost 8 of the last 9 frames, and you know when you get down to that shot, if you miss it, you're giving your opponent a chance. Good pot.
Oh, played that well. He played that very well, digging down like that to control it as he did, putting a trace of left-hand side just to check it, just looking for red and a colour. This is a good response from Shaun. .70 points to lead, just 67 remaining, nicely on this red. So that would have been in his mind. We heard that he didn't go into the practice room, as Willie said, during the interval. But he'd have been thinking, OK, I'm 3 frames behind, but
14.
If I get the chance, I feel as though I'm still cueing well. And he's done that here. Fair play to him.
Thank you. 15.
Well, that's a pity, but the frame was well and truly over well before that. Stuart Bingham nods, he concedes. So, today, Shaun Murphy has stopped the rot, but he's still 2 behind. 12-10 Bingham.
The key thing there after the interval, Johnny, had to make a very, very good start in the opening frame, and this was the perfect start. A good long pot right into the heart of the pocket.
Yeah, well, the thing was, when you said he hadn't been in the practice room, and I thought, well, maybe he might have gone in just to practice a few long pots, because before the interval, he wasn't even getting in the jaws. Said he usually pots them for fun, and that one was a beautiful controlled pot. Didn't play it with any thought of missing the red. Nicely on the black. Didn't make the most of it, needed a second chance, but
And this was the chance, John, wasn't it? I thought he couldn't see this red at first glance, but when we changed to that camera angle, we could clearly see it was. And for me, there's almost more pressure on that shot, the fact that he was 59 in front, playing that shot, knowing he was leaving reds on. OK, played a relatively good white there to the side cushion, but that was the one that could have cost him the frame should he miss it.
Well, we've said many times how an interval can turn a match round. It did last night when Shaun won the first 4 frames, led 8-4, and Stuart Bingham came out, all guns blazing, and reduced his arrears at the end of that first day, just 1 frame.
Thank you. Frame 23. Stuart Bingham to break.
It really couldn't be more tense now as Stuart Bingham breaks off. He's now trying to kick on and get a huge lead into tonight's final session. Shaun Murphy, of course, is now playing catch-up. He'd like to win this mini-session 3-1 to remain within a couple of frames.
I just noticed there, just coming up 6 hours now of intense concentration. And remember, this tournament, this is the 17th day. Long way away, and because he was so far away with the pot, that's why he kissed another red. Now where's the red he played going? He's left it to the top. It's almost straight. Stuart having a look at possibilities of reds to the left corner, but surely the one to the far right corner. Doesn't have to do anything with the cue ball to be on the blue. One thing he didn't want to do there was hit it that thin, because of course it was sending the red he was playing up and down out of the balk end. He doesn't look happy.
Oh, that's the first sign of a little bit of tension in Stuart's arm. I expect him to knock that one in.
So did I, Willie, and he barely got the jaws. It can turn, you know. You can be behind, it takes a little bit of pressure off, and then when you get in front and you think, hang on, a chance to push on, then there's another type of pressure comes into play. That was a disappointing miss there from Stuart. But you have to say now the difference is, Willie, the mistakes that Stuart's making are not being punished.
Yeah, good point. That was a real chance there for Shaun Murphy to get back into this session. Obviously the red above the black doesn't pot, but he's left the red over the corner. He didn't really want the kiss. He would have been perfect on the blue. I'm not too sure whether the green will pot.
Yeah, he was just potting the red one and thought, well, I'm bound to be on a colour. Never take anything for granted at this game. Well, he's looking and looking, so I assume he thinks he can just get to the green. Terrific pot, you know, because there wasn't all the pocket available for that green.
4.
Just half of it. And that's the half that he got it in. Excellent pot. We obviously know that the red just above the black isn't available, because when Stuart played his opening red, if that would have been available, he'd have certainly played it. The black's available. So, is he thinking, Willie? Yellow off the side cushion, smack into the cluster behind the pink?
I think he'll play for the 2 loose ones first, John, and then get onto the black, but the angle is there to do either. But I think he'll play for the 2 loose ones first. Like it had been a bit wider. The only reason I say that He's a very good player with the rest, but you'd much rather be playing them with your cue arm rather than the rest.
Yeah, I'm not certain what's going to happen to the black after it's potted.
So I presume ideally he'd like to finish low on this black so he can move that red away from the spot, make the black available into both corners. He has finished low, but perhaps a little bit too low. He may have to screw off the red and black and try and get through the gap of those two reds on the left-hand side to leave choice of red. So it's a little delicate screw this time.
Yeah, played it nicely.
15. $16.
Needs a little bit of cue power here. Red next to the pink, on and off the cushion. Has he umpired the pink? He has, clearly.
Just a fraction too hard. It's not too bad if he can reach, and I think he can. He's going to get his extension. Just asking our referee, Olivier Martil, what a 2 days it is for him. His first World Championship final. Best referee, seen and not heard. Oh, heard and not seen, sorry.
$24.
There is a red just at the bottom of that little cluster that will go in the same pocket as the black. He's got the perfect angle on the black to play for it.
Stuart knows, of course, if he wins this frame, he's bound to be in front going into tonight's final session. But by how many?
31.
Well, he's opened the red, but just the wrong side of the blue. Don't think the pink pots. So he's basically just got to come in and out of baulk, try, if possible, to get a down the right-hand side. And we're near that circle.
Don't tell me.
37.
Ooh, what about a glare then if it landed in the circle?
Well, just a little bit too hard. It doesn't make this now straightforward position. If it had stayed in the circle, this red would have been straighter.
$38.
This could be a bonus if the blue pots play to get on into the middle. But second prize has arrived. It's in the corner. And the reds are spread nicely now. If the blue goes in, a chance to go 13-10 in front.
On this red, immediately above the black, you just feel if he knocks this in, gets nice position on the black, frames at his mercy.
44.
And he couldn't have played it much better than that. Well, there were times during this match, where, particularly in the first session when he lost the first three, and last evening when he lost the first four, you you wondered whether Shaun was going to run away, but boy, he's shown some character as Stuart.
Most people have known what an excellent player Stuart Bingham is, but we weren't sure what he'd be like under the intensities of pressure. He's been put under the intensities of pressure throughout this match. And who would have thought when he was 8-4 behind he could possibly go into the night session definitely in front? Quite a remarkable comeback.
Yeah, and every mistake he's made, which early on in the match was being punished heavily by Shaun Murphy, he never let it affect his next visit to the table. Any young aspiring snooker players, if you play a bad shot, just forget about it. You can't make it. You can't rectify that. Just look forward to the next one. And he's done that so well in this match.
52.
Just asking for the... Well, I think the referee said, can you just give me a minute, so...
Thank you.
Is the brown spot available?
I think... Yes, I think so. Yeah. Funnily enough, you know, in the old days, if the pink spot hadn't have been available and he'd have put it there and not on the brown spot, it was a foul against the player 59. At the table, but that doesn't apply now. It's deemed as a referee's error, and just carry on as normal. Perfect on the black. And now this red will put him 67 ahead 66. With just 59 remaining.
Quite amazing session of snooker for Stuart Bingham, just at the right time. Whatever happens now, as we discussed in commentary, he's going to be in front going into tonight's final session. Now it's just a case of how many.
73. $74.
Does it reach? Does it reach? I think after Crucible Theatre there, we're blowing.
80.
Yes, it's certainly the side that Stuart's parents are up in. I'm sure they were
81.
Blowing there. There they are. They must be absolutely delighted to see his sons battling so well. Oh, what a shame. Unless it's a double, it's end of break.
87.
Yeah, how is it doing? The crowd will let us know. Obviously, there was no one else from the crowd. We knew it wasn't in, but Stuart Bingham, another great break of 87. Takes him 3 clear at 13-10.
And once again, he ploughs on. How dangerous are these times for Shaun Murphy now?
Very. He's got 2 massive frames coming up where you'd feel at least one of them's got to be, as I said, even 2-2 after that. On this little mini session wouldn't be great going in 3 frames behind, but well, he's under it because Stuart Bingham's playing so well. I mean, Stuart Bingham is playing the match of his life on the most important snookering day of his life. You can't ask for any more than that.
Could you ever have suspected he would play this well today?
No, and he's to be frank, I mean, I didn't think he was that good. I knew he could score. I knew he was a heavy scorer. I knew he was capable of winning tournaments, but to do it here under this pressure, this first time in a world final, he's going to have a lead going into the final session. Incredible performance.
We've seen some of the long putting. Obviously, they've both started to miss a few, but significantly for Shaun, that appears to be his Achilles heel right at the moment, John.
Well, the reason it's his Achilles heel is because he's so good at it. I mean, that's how he's getting the majority of his chances in the frame. You leave a red sticking out, he's usually knocking it in. If it stops and he starts missing a few of those, It gives great encouragement to his opponent.
Long potting, Stephen, is it one of the first areas where tension is likely to show in your performance?
Well, it's the most difficult part of the game, obviously, long potting. And as I said before, I think he's almost half the player when he's not getting them. He potted a couple in the first frame, but he's not had a pounding in this tournament the way he's had from Stuart. One visit every time.
He desperately needs to win at least one of the next couple of frames this afternoon.
Not a bad break-off shot. The usual suspect is available to the right corner, but it's covered by the green. So Stuart, in playing safe, needs to get a good cue ball here so as not to leave that one for Shaun. Pretty good. Average frame time just over 16 minutes. What a match it's been. The quality has been absolutely fantastic. The occasional miss just to get you on the edge of your seats. This is championship snooker at its very best. And a test of character, as it always has been. And it's a big test of character now for Shaun Murphy. And there you see the problem. Pot success in this third session. Shaun Murphy, 83%. You've got to be 90% above. Stuart Bingham, 92%. That's the difference.
And amazing enough, Shaun Murphy's at 147. It's only points he's scored in this first session, but 453 from Bingham. I've just been looking at our stats we have on a commentary box, John. There's been a 50 above in every single frame bar one. That's how good it's been.
Well, he's had a look at this. He's taking this on. This is a big, big shot. Well played. Great shot. And obviously the black is available. He didn't hang back on that one. Beautifully stroked in.
And look at his head, John. It never moved an inch when he played that shot. Oh, what a chance this is to get a few points on the board.
Eight. Nine. $14.
He's got the red to the left middle, but he's going to have to play off a cushion. He'd like to just be able to roll through for the black. Problem is, if you come off a cushion, then you're always a little bit worried in case you get a quick bounce. You like to keep tight control by not using cushions.
15.
Can't afford any more mistakes in this last two frames of the afternoon session. As the boys mentioned, the studio would be delighted with both, but would be still in the match with just one.
That's the sidebar showing you he needs to get to 71 points. That will get him to the snooker's required stage. At the moment, got lovely control of the cue ball.
30.
I say that as he come nestling on this red. No, I think he can get through to this red to the corner. Well, in fact, he's looking somewhere else. It looked as though he could. Well, if he can't, well, what sort of an angle has he got this red on this red to the middle? Just
31.
enough to get a nice angle on the blue, so Heart in mouth time there for the Shaun Murphy camp.
He's got the perfect angle on the blue, but it's not straightforward to get nicely on a red. Should be able to just stun down and get on a choice of 2. Perhaps a little
36.
surprised he played this one, but he's so good at this kind of shot, and just to stun out for the black shouldn't be any problem. Looks a lot easier on that camera angle, doesn't it?
37. $44.
Perfect angle on this red. And when you're in a
45.
pressure situation like this, of course, precise positional play, leave yourself a nice angle on the ball you're on to get on the next ball. It just makes it so much easier to get the points required. And that cannon was played to absolute perfection.
52.
This has been a good effort from Shaun. Okay, the reds were open, but he was starting to miss a few.
53.
Could play into the 3 reds here, but he might want to just make sure of the frame. That's what he's doing.
Yeah, he doesn't have to bring any more reds into play. All the balls he needs are in the open. There you see it, 60 points ahead, 83
60.
remaining. So 2 more reds required. If he plays for black or pink,
61.
after the pink, just 1 more red needed. I like the way he's gone around about this break, Willie. I mean, he's, you know, he's obviously under a lot of pressure out there, and he knew the importance of these last 2 frames. There's 1 more after this, but I like to see it. I like to see somebody respond, like Stuart Bingham kept doing yesterday. And it just proves to you, and it proves to Stuart Bingham, that Shaun isn't going to go away.
67. 68.
A round of applause from the knowledgeable Crucible audience. No, that's frame ball. And I'm sure most of the neutrals would love to see this go into the very, very last little session of 5-6 frames tonight.
75. 76.
Perfect angle to bring these reds into play now. Just check. He's just about on this red.
83.
To the middle, the one just below the blue. Hmm.
84.
Pity. Could have done without the kiss on the green, but he could pot this brown. Well, not quite. Well, he won't be disappointed. He had to dig deep there. He had to concentrate hard. The frame was the most important thing, and he got it. Reduces arrears now to 2 with 1 frame to play.
This final is so watchable. It's so compelling. How would you characterise it, Stephen?
It's just great. It's just, I'm just loving it. I mean, I'm not. You know, sometimes you don't really like to watch others playing, but it's just last night in commentary. It's like a boxing match. You know, you punch me, I'm going to punch you back harder. It's incredible.
One of the most open you've seen?
Very much so, very much so. I mean, there's hardly any safety play. When they do play a safety, it's not the best, so it's letting the other guy in to pot a long ball, and then he clears up. It's brilliant.
Yeah, speaking about long balls, what about this?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
We were talking about Shaun's long game this week. This is as good as you're going to get. What a piece of cueing this is. Full length of the table, straight into the middle of the pocket, and deserves everything he gets from
and
it.
look what he leaves on if he misses it.
Yeah.
Yes.
13-10 down.
Yeah, exactly. And we'd been asking questions about his long game there, but that was natural talent, and that was sheer guts going for that one as well.
I mean, I'm looking at thinking, is there a safety over there looking for something? And he's looked at it, come round and look where the black is. Every credit to him for getting down and putting all his eggs in one basket there.
Poof.
All right, we've got one more frame to play this afternoon. There's 2 between them. Just assess the importance of this one for us, Stephen.
We said how happy he would be after yesterday. Well, Shaun would be equally as happy if he got out 13-12 here.
And then, of course, the pressure reverses a little. That's the fascination of this final, isn't it, John?
Absolutely.
Thank you. The 25th
Match play snooker at its
final frame
best.
of this session. Stuart Bingham to break.
Match play snooker at its best is quite right. These two players have been exchanging blows throughout this final. Murphy goes clear, Bingham catches up. Murphy goes clear again, Bingham catches up. Bingham goes clear. Murphy this time can't catch up, and that's what they're playing for.
Wonderful trophy. He's held it once in 2005. Close. You always say if you're going to miss those, err on the side of hitting it too thin. Doesn't miss many of those, in all fairness, though. Stuart taking this on. Deep screw will be playing. Oh, tremendous pot. And absolutely, if he'd have picked it up with his hand and said, right, I want to be perfect on the blue, he could not have placed it better than that. Great pot, perfect position.
Little scratch of the ear. Now the two reds to the left-hand side of the pink pot, no problem, but the black's not available. So is he going to try and leave an angle on one of these reds to get nicely back up for the blue? I don't think the pink's available in the corner. Maybe available in the middle. So he's thinking 3 shots ahead at the minute.
Just thinking, Willie, if you could get on, say the red on the extreme left hand of the table, if you could leave a nice angle on that, would be a possibility you could pot that red and maybe cannon the red to the right of the black, but I don't know whether it's worth the risk. We'll see what he plays off the blue. Well, he's played for the red to the right corner. I don't think he can get on the black
6.
off this, so pink may be available into the left middle. Oh, he can go up for the blue.
Yeah, the beauty of that shot, of course, as you can see now, the black is available into that pocket. So get straight on this red will be nice on the left-hand side, and then he can get on the black. So good thinking from Stuart there.
Yeah, and that's always a key thing when you're playing in these pressure situations.
12.
Think clearly, think properly, and he's doing that. Just needs a little bit more of a bounce, and that's absolutely inch perfect. Pot the black, just stun into the one immediately above it, and leave yourself on the other red. If this goes right, what a chance it could be. Played it perfectly. Lovely touch.
20.
It's not easy to roll balls on these super fine cloths, but couldn't have played it better.
21.
Couldn't have played anything better so far in this break. Great opening red, perfect on the blue, and he's cleverly got the black now. Available into both corner pockets. Sign of a master break builder.
28.
Well, the standard can't get much better than this. It really is awesome.
29.
Now we'll be playing into the bunch. The thing is, even if you stick on those two reds he's looking at, you'll be on the one in the right-hand corner. So probably best to stun into these, not screw. That's what he's done. Always, he didn't. When you play a stun shot in the pack, it always tends to push through them. Playing a screw shot in the pack, obviously the white's coming
36.
straight back.
Yeah, he played it nicely. He's got one to the right corner. That's the one he was thinking he was going to be on. But he's also got one to the left corner. But he can use that later. You would think it's quite simple, although nothing simple in these circumstances. Just to stun this red in round the back of the black for the black in the same pocket.
There was a sidebar telling us he needs to get 69 points to leave Shaun Murphy needed a snooker.
Well, I thought that
44.
red just at the bottom of the cluster may go into the left corner. It obviously doesn't, because if it did, he'd have played for it then. This final, of course, best of 35, first to 18. Play for the pink in the middle. He's got a red that's just separated, so... Well, I say he'd play for the pink in the middle because he's not that good on the black, but... Just looking now, if he just stuns a pink, and I'm not certain where the pink will go after it's potted, but it's a formality to get on the next red. And he won't mind so much if the pink... Well, he'd like it to go on its spot, to be honest with you, but Olivia Marteel doesn't think it will, so as close to its own spot as it can possibly go in a direct line with the middle of the top cushion. It probably sends a red out of commission. So it's imperative in playing the shot, depending on the potting angle. And if he wasn't that straight, he might decide to pot the red and screw into the cluster and back up for the blue or bought colour.
51.
Key shots coming up, Will.
Certainly, John needs to get the half-ball angle on this next black. In fairness, it'd be easier to go up for the blue to make the split perfect because he'd be pushing reds to both corners off the black. He'd probably only be pushing them towards the middles. So blue would be the better choice to go into them. And that's what he's played. Didn't get into it enough, though.
Yeah, you got the feeling there. Maybe he could have forced it across a bit more and maybe tried to disturb those three reds, but he thought he did it hard enough. But if you're not going to be the right side of the blue, best to be well the wrong side, which he is. Just playing for this loose red on the right-hand side of the table. Just needs that cue ball to slow up because he's going to be using the rest. He doesn't want to be hampered by the blue. But this is a tough shot. And he missed one like this in an earlier frame when he was rolling it in. And that'll be in his mind.
And it was with the rest as well, wasn't it, when he missed that one. And once again he's missed that one. May have got away with it. But once again, 50 break or above in every frame bar one. But how important could that miss be?
It's funny, because when he missed the other one we were talking about, he hit the right-hand jaw, so he's overcompensated. This time, hit the left-hand jaw. It's somewhere in the middle.
Now Shaun's got to cover this red.
Yes, he can't really play safe off the red he's closest to, and as Willie said, he's got to cover the path to this open red. Oh, the kiss on the yellow won't help. The kiss on the yellow will not help one little bit. Sorry, Shaun. Poor safety, that.
Needs the cue ball to pull up quickly, though.
1.
Just pulled up enough to be able to have a chance at the yellow to hold for this outside red on the left-hand side. Came very close, didn't it, as we see this pot again, to catching the edge of the pack. That would have slowed the cue ball down. This is tricky, but if he gets it, he's going to be on the red.
Well, he's got the perfect angle to come round and cannon into the cluster, but he wouldn't risk that all when he's missed the yellow. And this time, he's not got away with it. So, Shaun, you've been given a chance. It's not an easy one by any means. Can you take it and go into the evening session just one frame behind?
Yes, we talk about this game being all about fractions. If Stuart's cue ball had slowed up about 2 inches shorter than it did, the yellow would have been unmissable. But it was half ball. It was hard to hold it. But it was one I expected him to get. But this pressure, nothing's easy.
He's playing the can. He's got to hit this top red full in the face. No. Calls it half ball. Well, he might just be able to get past the black.
6.
To cut the red to the left corner. Needed to hit that full. If he hits it full, the cue ball stays in the middle of the table. Hitting it half ball, cue ball runs to the side cushion. But as I say, I think he can get past the black. But this is tricky. That's a good pot. He wasn't certain whether he could get on the colour or not. But as long as he got the pot, he was in control of the situation. Could play the snooker. Wouldn't blame him for doing that. But that's not the way this match has been played out. Any chance, and they go for it.
I don't know, he just snapped a little bit at that. Probably concentrating so much on getting the good contact on the brown.
Yeah, well, the fact that he was running into the brown just made him a little uncertain where the cue ball was going to finish, and when that happens, you can just take your eye off the pot. If it wasn't perfect, he could have snuck up behind the green, but as I say, that's not the way they played the match.
52 points in front now. Any colour, and he will take a 3-frame lead into tonight's final session.
Well, just having a look at that again in slow motion, that green almost dropped a little less pace, and surely gravity would have taken over. And that's it. And now it looks for all money, will it? That he's going to have a 3-frame advantage going into this evening's session. Who would have thought that?
Really came into this session trying to win it 5-3. He's had a bonus. He's won it 6-2. What Stuart Bingham for many, many years.
14.
And as Stephen Hendry said in the studio, he knew he was a good player. He wasn't too sure. He was
50.
How good he really is, and he's proved it this week. He's capable now of winning every single tournament he plays in. But so are another 10 players or so at the minute. We've got a wonderful array of snooker
21.
talent at the minute. Tried to bring the green
22.
into play, so it would have been a little easier for a clearance, but he won't be worried about that. He knows in a couple of seconds' time he'll be having his cup of tea. I know he's good with the
28.
rest, but it'll have to be to cue this right. Can he get onto the green? Not this time, but quite clearly an amazing exhibition of snooker from Stuart Bingham. He's won this session 6-2, giving himself a great chance to win his first World Championship. He goes into the final session, leading 14-11.
From 1 frame behind to 3 in front in the blink of an eye this afternoon. It's been an absolutely mesmerising session from both players, but in particular from that man, the world number 10, Stuart Bingham.